I'm a 47-year-old man. I think that's pretty obvious. If I were to decide tomorrow that I was a 47-year-old woman, should I be allowed to go shower in a women's locker room?
Restrictions on terms like mum, dad, boyfriend, girlfriend are also part of a push to curb the dropout and suicide rates of LGBTQI plus young people.
Coon cheese has been eaten by Australians for more than 80 years. It was named after its creator, Edward William Coon. But after issues were raised with the word's use as a racial slur, the company declared it would be rebranded.
That if you say something that goes against the popular consensus, you have committed a harm.
Among certain young people, and this is accelerated by social media, there is this sense sometimes of the way of me making change is to be as judgmental as possible about other people.
You're teaching children to hate others because of their skin color, and you're forcing them to lie about other kids' gender.
Due to the increase in sensitivity of millennials and Gen Z, we see the rise of cancel culture on a global scale. This has led to arguments of not allowing people to use the word mother, father, and students' birth names in universities and schools, as it is seen as an offensive term to the LGBTQ+ community. The vilification of many Disney classics like Sleeping Beauty and Peter Pan due to accusations of racist and sexist depictions in these films and books. The changing of company names and brands due to racist implications such as Redskins and Coon cheese, and many more we see in the news media every day. As a result of the uncontrollable rise of sensitivity and cancel culture, it is vital for young minds to be equipped with wisdom to be able to navigate in these confusing times. And this is why the topic of the right speech this year is: to what extent is the victim mentality responsible for the hypersensitive culture that has allowed the Millennial Generation and Gen Z to accentuate in them increased egocentricity?
Good afternoon, judges, parents, staff, and students. So, if you have been watching the news, read the paper, or used social media in the past few years, you will have noticed a trend which has been increasing in society. And that is, everyone is getting offended by literally everything. The Millennials and Generation Z are defined by the words snowflake, hypersensitive, and egocentric. We have become a world where our feelings matter more than anyone else's. Because we think that we exist, we believe we deserve everything. And don't get me wrong, I know that this sort of attitude is known to many other generations before us, but it is just that our victim mentality has grown to such an extent that our egocentricity and sensitivity is causing us to lose grip on what is actually reality and what isn't. For example, pronouns such as he and she, mother and father, can no longer be used freely. Topics such as rape, suicide, racism are now triggering, and brands such as brands who actually support the Me Too movement or feminist movement are now being accused by millennials of having gender-related motivations. It has fragmented our sense of identity and created a world full of hatred, greed, and delusion. And so the question is, how? How did the world become like this? You know, it's true when the world actually blames the internet or social media as it has influenced our minds to develop this hypersensitive culture. Having access to the topics the world finds offensive causes us to develop the same victim mentality. And so we see an increase in young millennials uprising for their beliefs and agreeing that they do deserve equal rights. To the point, however, where they have actually achieved the opposite. Even the slightest phrase or word that can be related to triggering topics in any way, such as the word black, can cause you to be their worst enemy. Trust me, I know this from experience. It's so bad people are searching for ways to speak normally because of these racist accusations. So yes, social media has taught us to be highly victimized people, but I believe the major cause to our egocentricity isn't the media. It's the influences of our greatest role models, our parents. Parents today cannot stand to let their children experience any form of failure or disappointment. They end up cleaning after their child, they organize their child's life, and they lack high expectations. And I know they mean well, but because of this, our generation has become weak. And we grow thinking that the world is meant to mold around our issues, not the other way around. And so when millennials come to realize that the world doesn't revolve around them, they end up resorting to emotional tantrums and verbal outbursts because that's how they grew up. And so it seems like there is no solution to a world that supports nurturing these immoral values. But there is. The solution is why. Why is something all millennials need to really ask themselves. Why am I following what society believes in? Why do I find myself scared of offending others when we are meant to have a right to free speech? We need to seek deeper into the absolute truth. Whether what we see or hear is actually meant to offend us or just a true fact that we misinterpreted. We must understand that it's easy to fall into conformity because we all want to fit in, but we should always look to see whether the actions we do are beneficial to ourselves and others. We must nurture speech with truthfulness, unity, and goodwill, do actions that cultivate compassion, and to think with generosity and loving kindness to all people. This is the 10 moral codes of conduct that we have been taught at school. And parents, the most important teachers to your children. You can make a difference too by reflecting on your life experiences, your mistakes and your realizations. How were you raised what's the difference between you and your child today? These are the types of wisdoms that will arm your child when they must finally leave the nest into the real world. And so, no matter how much violence we cast upon the world, fighting fire will only lead to more fire. You can't change what's going on around you until you change what's going on within you first. So, if you can't change what's going on around you, then only then can you change. You must change yourself first for the world to be better. Thank you.